Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. I am the Dean, and before we get into today's show, which we're talking wide receivers, I had a really good response from my running back breakdown, the tiers that I broke down into my own interpretation from the CBS Instagram page that D Money sent me. I decided to do a wide receiver edition. And before we get into that, I want you guys to think about where you're getting your information from, who you're getting your information from, and how it's being delivered. And there's guys out there who've been doing this longer than I have, who've been grinding longer than I have, and some of them, they put this out there in, I want to say, a very crass way, and I'm not going to call out specifically who is bringing this up and who perpetuated this message. But if you're out there and you're listening to this episode, first of all, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. I love the support. If you haven't already, go down, subscribe, like, share down the bottom, wherever it may be. I'd love the support. But I myself get my information from a plethora of different sources. I have, the NFL app, I have the ESPN app, the fantasy apps, to get my information, to pass it along, and to give my interpretation and my own breakdown of what this stuff means for fantasy football. I don't like yelling. I don't like the listen to me, I know what I'm talking about type guy. I don't like the showing off guy. And but the one that I really can't listen to is the guy who cusses every other word. And I ran across a site here on YouTube. If you run across it, I'm not going to put it out there, but if you do run across this guy, please leave a comment on his section and just ask him to kind of tone it down. And you don't have to cuss if you're putting out good quality product, okay? If you've got the graphics and you have time to do all this stuff, I don't do that here. I'm just starting on this. It's something that's going to be a work in progress for me. This isn't my full-time gig, and I want it to be eventually, but right now, as my life stands, I can't put that kind of time in. I put in as much time as I can for you guys, and I appreciate the love, and I hope you guys appreciate the information that's being doled out here. And as the season goes on, I might be able to get into a little more of the editing, but I want to get this product out to you and this content out to you guys as quickly as I can, and as timely as I can, so that you kind of keep watching, you keep getting the information as we go and we lead up to the drafts and even into the regular season. But yeah, I ran across this guy, and he was F this and GD this and all this other stuff. And I have kids, and number one, this guy was really, really young, so I'll chalk it up to him being immature in his delivery. But I'm not going to sit there and listen to some kid giving me advice, cussing every other word, because his advice is so weak that he has to cuss in order to get heard. That's not how you're supposed to get the information, okay? So my 2 cents in on that. So without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going wide receivers that are low risk, high risk, that are solid, that are drafted at your own risk, and guys who I am hands off, okay? What we're also gonna dive into a little bit right now is the whole COVID thing. We're gonna hit on the little guys who have asked for trades, and we're gonna talk about the Brady hype train that is so out of control right now. It's not even funny. We all know that we're living in a different kind of world right now. That we're living in the coronavirus world. I myself have been on quarantine with my wife and my son. We're all locked down here in the house for the past couple of weeks because they tested positive. I'm asymptomatic. My son's asymptomatic. Unfortunately, my wife has been experiencing all of the symptoms and continues to do so. So prayers and thoughts for her, please, for her to get better. She's on the uptick, but she's still riding the roller coaster. But with that said, we're living in a new world, and that reality world that we're living in is going to carry over into our fantasy football world. But we need to try to, as commissioners, as players, as owners of fantasy teams, try to do everything that we can to minimize the effect that the COVID is going to have on our fantasy world here in the upcoming weeks and months. So what should you do because we're living in this COVID world for fantasy football? One of the things is don't draft scared. Look, COVID, just treat it like any other injury risk that's going to be out there. I was talking to my wife earlier, who is our league champion. Listen to me the whole time. So, I just gave really good advice, and sometimes too good for her, or for me, actually, because I lost to her. But if I'm going to lose anybody, like I said before, I'd rather lose her. But her and I were talking, and, I was telling her about this, and she goes, yeah, anybody could break a leg, be out for the season. Same thing. Okay. COVID is the same thing. It's the same unexpected injury risk that you're going to run any other time of the year. Don't go in and look at a guy and go, wow, what if he gets COVID? What if my first round draft pick gets COVID? Oh my God. And don't think that just because Zeke got it before that he can't get it during the season. Yeah, it can happen. I'm not wishing on anybody, but you never know. And the other thing that you can do, stay updated. Okay, stay updated on the player's health, on who's got what, when, all this kind of stuff, and just stay informed. Okay, pick your sources. Make sure that you have multiple sources, so you're not just getting it from one place. You can't just pick like CBS Sports and get it from there. You can't just pick ESPN and get it from there. Get it from multiple sources. If you're not getting it from multiple sources, then you're at a detriment to yourself. Okay, have multiple outlets that you can feed off of, just like I do. Okay, I have so many outlets that's not even funny, and I even have guys that send me stuff that I haven't seen. Okay, either I'm not really heavy on Instagram. I have other guys that are heavy on Instagram that send me information. So thank you. If you're one of those guys, thank you, appreciate it. And just make sure that you're well informed going into the season. Now, there's been a lot of turmoil in this season already. We've had Leonard Fournette earlier this year, before Cam got to New England. Fournette came out publicly and said that he wanted Cam Newton in Jacksonville. Okay, first of all, that wasn't going to happen. Okay, they're big on Gardner Minshew. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. They got rid of Calais Campbell. He's up with the Ravens right now, so their defense is basically garbage. They're going to be throwing the ball all over the place. So it makes DJ Shark a really attractive fantasy pick for wide receiver. With Fournette doing that, he kind of, in a backhanded kind of way, went, hey, I don't have any faith in our quarterback. And he can say all he wants to kind of make up for it. But we know it's the contract year. We know that he's going to have to ball out this year. So Fournette is forcing himself to have a spectacularly phenomenal year with the Jaguars in order to get out of Jacksonville and get signed by someone and make some money. So look for that. I've said it before, Fournette is trying to work his way out of Jacksonville. Don't look for him to be back there. Look for him next year to be with somebody else. And just it's not going to be a pretty sight. And it could work for his detriment to be that, but, time will tell. Okay. Fournette is – let's see, if I have him on my solid list for pickups, because he is going to be a solid pick for Jacksonville. He is the only thing they have in the backfield. There's really nothing else behind him. Jacksonville didn't go out and draft one of the top running backs. Taylor, Swift, Akers, Moss, none of those guys landed in Jacksonville. They're all somewhere else. So there's nobody really pushing him. He's kind of running away from Jacksonville, if you will. Raheem Mostert, look, he got in a tizzy. He was upset. Saw all these guys. Zeke had gotten paid. Derrick Henry got his contract. McCaffrey is getting paid. All this stuff. And he thought he was bigger than what he was. And now he has reached out to a quote-unquote high-level person in the Niners organization to kind of smooth out things, if you will. So he's not going to get the trade that he's requesting. I'm just letting you know right now. If you think that Raheem Mostert is going to get traded from the Niners, you're out of your mind. And Raheem Mostert, if you see this video by any chance, please stay with Kyle Shanahan. Okay, you're finally getting good. Okay, you really haven't been anything until you got with the Niners. And anybody who leaves Shanahan, okay, look at Le'Veon Bell. Okay, Le'Veon Bell left a perfect situation with the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and he hasn't been anything since he got to New York. Okay, so Raheem, stay where you're at, make up. I don't care whose butt you have to kiss to get back in the good graces of the Niners and Kyle Shanahan, but you're better than Coleman. Okay, they let Brady walk. So if that doesn't say something about how they feel about you or how they felt about you, I don't know what does. Okay, you could have been the one gone, and Breida could have been the one that stayed. I mean, they shipped him off to Miami. Okay, really? Do you really want to be in Miami? Aside from the weather, do you really want to be in Miami? Okay. Answer is no, quite simply. Now, here is a very interesting development with Cleveland. Cleveland brought in Austin Hooper from the Falcons, made this man the highest paid tight end in the NFL. As soon as I saw this, I went, what? Are you kidding me? Higher than Kelsey, higher than Andrews, higher than Kittle, higher than Ertz. Okay, those are your four big names. Okay, I'm sorry, Austin Hooper, you're not that good. Okay, you're just not. You played with a good quarterback in Matt Ryan in an offense that chucked the ball around a lot because they don't have a running game. Even with Ty Gurley this year, they're still going to have to chuck the ball around because their defense isn't that great. And you go to the nicknamed appropriately black and blue division with Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. And you really think that you're worth being the highest paid tight end in the NFL? Now I'm all about players getting the money that they can. That's great. But Cleveland, like you didn't have enough problems already and you had to add this. Not only that, you have the player that I'm getting to, David Njoku, as your tight end already. Now, this guy was more than a serviceable tight end, and now he's requesting a trade. And he's come out and tweeted that, hey, I love Cleveland. I love what the Browns have done for me. I just went out of town. Them signing Austin Hooper to the contract that they signed him to was a slap in the face to David Njoku. It was basically, we have no faith in you, and we think that we can do better. So Njoku's like, peace, I'm done. Get me out of here. And one of the teams that he is apparently rumored to want to go to, and I can't blame him for this, is New England. Can you imagine David Njoku teaming up with Cam Newton, and you thought Brady and Gronk had something going on? Let that happen and see the fireworks that Belichick is going to set off for the AFC East, okay? It's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy if that ever happens. Wherever Njoku goes, keep an eye on it and keep an eye on his fantasy value to go up depending upon who he goes to, okay? As it stands right now, David Njoku is nowhere on my radar for a tight end, simply because there's Austin Hooper there. You're not going to pay the man that much money and not use him and not utilize him in the passing game, okay? With that said, I want to touch real quick on the Cam Newton signing. I touched on it in another episode, but we're gonna revisit it for just a quick second. Don't let the hype fool you, okay? Is this a great signing? Yes. Can something be done with Cam and Belichick? Yes. Could Belichick work miracles with this? Of course. Okay. Look what he did with Brady last year. They wound up, I believe it was 13-3 last year, getting into the playoffs and doing better than what pretty much anyone thought they would. And before Cam got there with Stidham, there was a lot of people saying that they're not even going to make the playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division. They're going to beat out Buffalo because, I mean, really, you think the Jets are going to challenge? No. Do you think Miami in a rebuild year is going to challenge? No. So the only other team there is Buffalo, okay? Buffalo, New England's defense, kind of pretty much interchangeable. So it comes down to the offense, okay? I'm going to trust, and I hate saying this, I'm going to trust Belichick over the Bills coaching if it's going to come down to coaching. If it's going to come down to players, I'm kind of torn because you got Cam, a key piece stepping into a key role who might take a little bit to click with some of the guys there. And then you have Diggs coming in not as pivotal role, but he's got to find his niche with the Bills offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. And we're going to see how much of a diva and a whiny baby he is. Like he was a squeaky wheel in Minnesota. Let's see how much he squeaks not having one of the accurately rated quarterbacks in the league, leaving Kirk Cousins and now going to Josh Allen. I mean, it's a run-first offense, not a pass-first offense, which is basically what Minnesota was, but at least when Cousins threw the ball, you knew it was going to be accurate. It's not like Josh Allen, who he might throw it, he might run it, he might throw an interception, he might overthrow you. You don't know. Okay, so something to think about there. Now, before I get into the wide receivers, let's calm down and pump the brakes about the Brady hype train that is totally out of control. It is official. This train is off the tracks. The Madden results came out. The Madden rankings came out, and they gave Gronk a 95. Guys, listen up. Academy, listen. Put your pens down and take this in. Gronk is done, okay? Just because he's with Brady doesn't mean that they're going to flash back, hop in the DeLorean, and just go back 6-7 years when he was the premier receiver. Forget tight end, just a premier receiver for Brady, okay? It's not going to happen, okay? Brady's never had multiple receivers like he does right now, okay? And don't think that he's going to be able to support Godwin, Evans, Gronk, Howard, Bates, who those three guys right there are your three tight ends. Ronald Jones, the second, and Vaughn, their new rookie. Is that a lot of weapons? Yeah. Is he in a different league altogether for defenses? Yeah, probably. Okay. He's like 43 years old. I'm 45, fixing to turn 46. Not saying that I'm anything special, but with that line in Tampa, I'm not too confident that he's going to be upright enough to throw the ball, okay? And he is not a good scrambler All right, he's just not. Winston was much better at scrambling, and there's no way that Brady's going to be chucking the ball 5,000 yards this year. Okay, so forget that. Let's get real and bring it down a notch. Lay off the Bucks. Okay, for your own benefit, I'm telling you right now, lay off of Tampa. Let someone else take that chance. Okay, so please lay off of Godwin, lay off of Evans, lay off of Brady and Gronk. Okay, just don't do it. So let's get into the wide receivers, what we all came here for. All right. So first off, low risk. Let's burn through this because you guys pretty much know who they are already. If you looked at the standings, if you looked at ADP, you know what's going on. And I'm just going to bring up real quick some of the stuff that I was using to help me do this. There we go. My leaders from last year. Okay. Wide receivers from last year. Okay. Everybody knows how good Michael Thomas was last year. Okay. This guy scored about 35 points more than the next closest person, who, by the way, was Chris Godwin. Okay. So Chris Godwin, here's your top 5. Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Kenny Golladay, Cooper Kupp, and Julio Jones. Yeah, that's right. That was your top 5 wide receivers in fantasy points last year. Okay. And, I know you're probably sitting there going, hey, guys, where's Devontae Adams at? Devontae Adams only played like 12 games last year. Okay. He finished, I think, number 34, I want to say. Sorry, 29. Okay, Devontae Adams finished 29 last year. And Tyreek Hill, who is ranked as sometimes the first wide receiver off the board. I've seen him as low as like the 4th or 5th. So he's going somewhere in the 3rd as the 3rd wide receiver off the board behind Thomas and Devontae Adams. Tyreek finished 28th, and you're saying, okay, well, he missed some games too. Okay, great. Do you really want that as your measuring stick? I don't. Okay, so low risk. Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, Kenny Golladay, D-Hop, and Allen Robinson. Yes, I said Allen Robinson. Okay, I know some of you guys out there are going, have you lost your mind? Allen Robinson actually finished at the back end of a wide receiver 1. He finished 12th with 156.9 points last year. Okay. D-Hop finished 9th. I already said that 3 of my top 5 guys here finished in the top 5. Okay, so these guys are solid. Michael Thomas is going to do his. Okay. He's the first read in this offense. Whenever he's the first read, 9 times out of 10, Breeze is just chucking it up to him because he knows he's going to catch the ball. When it gets to Julio, you know that Julio is going to do Julio, and he's going to get his catches. He's going to get his targets. He might not get the touchdowns you're looking for, but he's going to get the touches. He's going to get the yardage. You're going to get points like that, okay? So he's a low-risk pick in that perspective. Kenny Golladay. Marvin Jones is the next thing to Golladay in Detroit, and it's no contest. Okay, Golladay is just, he's gonna beast out. He is it. And they have a horrible defense. They're gonna be having to chuck the ball all over the place. And who else you gonna go to besides Golladay? You might hit Jones every once in a while. Let me just scroll down here real quick. Marvin Jones finished 27th. Okay, so even the number 2 guy on Detroit finished higher than Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and DK Metcalf last year. Now, I have Metcalf on another list, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I believe he's going to take a step forward this year. As far as D-Hop goes, look, you can make the argument all day long, and I've gone back and forth on this. There's going to be a lot of targets that are in Arizona, okay? But with that said, these guys are going to have to score a lot of points in order to win games. So who else are you going to go to? Okay, yeah, you can go to Christian Kirk. Yeah, you can go to Larry Fitzgerald. But you're not going to make this move and not use your Ferrari. You're not going to leave the Ferrari in the garage and just let it sit. You're going to use it. You're going to pull it out. You're going to run it. Okay, so Fitzgerald can be the old reliable Chevy, and the shiny new Beamer can be Christian Kirk. But when it comes down to your high performance, high delivery vehicle in D-Hop, the Ferrari is going to be there. So you know he's going to get used. Okay, so if you don't think that Kyler Murray was doing backflips, somersaults, cartwheels, anything else when they made this trade for D-Hop, you're out your mind, because as a young quarterback, getting someone who has worked with so many bad quarterbacks, and this guy's coming in recharged, revamped, and with something to prove, you know he is going to get it done. All right, so Allen Robinson, last guy on my list for low risk, and you might be thinking, he's got Trubisky. Okay, great, he's got Trubisky. But Allen Robinson last year, like I said, finished 12th. That was with Allen Robinson. Do you really, or with Trubisky? Okay. Do you really think that Trubisky is going to be the quarterback at the end of the year? I don't. Apparently, Chicago doesn't, or they wouldn't have brought in a backup for him. Okay, so I'm not seeing Trubisky making it through the whole season. Okay, and Allen Robinson is pretty much, aside from D-Hop, all these guys have been working with top of the line quarterbacks. Julio has had Matt Ryan in Atlanta for a while. Thomas has had nobody but Drew Brees throw to him, and Galladay has had nobody but Matt Stafford. And even when Stafford went down, he still didn't have any other quarterback for any really extended period of time to affect his numbers that much. Okay, so aside from D-Hop being pretty much quarterback proof, Allen Robinson's the next best guy, in my opinion. Okay, so that low risk burn through. Let's get into high risk receivers. And I'm not saying that these guys on this list are stay away from or cautious about drafting. I'm saying that if you draft them, be aware that there is risk involved, and look at where you're drafting these guys to balance whether or not where you're going to take them in the draft. Okay, Tyreek Hill is being drafted extremely high, back into the first, front end of the second round, and I don't see it. Okay, so don't put yourself in that category where you're drafting Tyreek Hill and you're just sweating it out every time the Kansas City plays. You're hoping that he breaks that 80-yard slant for a touchdown. Okay, is he quick? Yeah, he's like one of the fastest guys in the NFL. Does he have that potential for that big play? Yeah, he does. But you got so many targets on KC that you really can't guarantee that he's going to, and I know there's nothing guaranteed in fantasy football, but you're not going to tell me that you're going to trust Tyreek Hill every single week. There's weeks that he can put up 40 points, and then the next week he can put up a donut. You don't need that kind of risk at that high of a draft pick. Let someone else deal with that, because, yeah, they might win one week, but they're not going to win a championship with Tyreek Hill. Okay. DJ Moore is on my high risk. Now, a lot of you are going, well, hey, man, DJ Moore, he's coming back. He's going to be great. He's going to be taking a step forward. Okay. I've said it before, but I'll say it again for those of you who missed it. new coach, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. Those three things do not bode well for wide receivers, okay? He's got to mesh with Teddy Bridgewater. He's got to mesh with his new OC. He's got to mesh with his new head coach. Now, Matt Rule coming in might bring that little flair of college ball to the NFL, but I'm telling you right now, or I'm sorry, not Matt Rule. Matt Rule's in with the Giants, but new head coach coming in, I'm not seeing DJ Moore as a safe bet. If you can get him later in the draft, fine. Watch how high you go after him, okay? Juju Smith-Schuster, you're like, how is Juju on the high risk? Look at what happens when Big Ben's not there. If Big Ben isn't there to chuck the ball to Juju exclusively, like he likes to do, because that's his guy, that's who he feels comfortable with. Who else is under center for Pittsburgh? Okay, they needed like a plan B, C, D, and E last year at quarterback, okay? So when they had Duck Hodges chucking the ball around, okay, I'm not really seeing that. Okay, he is quarterback dependent upon Big Ben. Okay, if Juju goes down or if Big Ben goes down, Juju's going to go down too. He's going to take a dip. And Deontay Johnson, who you can get much later in the draft, is coming up. Okay, so that's something just to look out for. Not saying I don't love Juju. I've drafted him in my mock drafts before, and I've made cases to take him. But I'm just giving you a heads up. Be aware. Courtland Sutton, you might be saying, hey, Courtland's going really high. Yeah, that's why he's on the high risk. Okay, he's got a second-year quarterback in Drew Lock. They just drafted Jerry Jeudy. So where's that going to go? He was jiving with Noah Fant last year, and the only reason that Courtland Sutton was there, one, injury, and two, that's the only guy that they had. Okay, and when Drew Lock came in and took over, he didn't do that hot with Drew Lock under center. Noah Fant did. Okay, so don't let that flash in the pan of Courtland Sutton in Denver kind of stare you into, hey, this is going to be a really good pick. He's still high risk, okay? Let's get into at your own risk. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I'm putting these guys both in the same boat because Brady will not be able to sustain both of them for any kind of real fantasy significance, okay? He'll get the ball spread around. He will lock in on one guy, okay? And right now, as it stands, he might lock in on Gronk because they have that chemistry, but he also loves a slot receiver, but he's going to have something to prove about he can't air the ball out. He's aging, this, that, the other, so he's going to want to try to go to Evans. You don't know what you're going to get until it's too late, and you don't know which one to pick because you don't know who he's going to hone in on. And without a preseason, it's going to be impossible to tell. It's going to be impossible to get beat on. Let someone else deal with this headache. Amari Cooper. Look, I'm not saying this from a homer standpoint of being a Washington fan, but I'm telling you right now, with Zeke, with Dak, and he's got Amari Cooper, but they just got in CeeDee Lamb. He's still got Michael Gallup. I mean, there's just a lot of what ifs around here, so I'm a draft at your own risk for Amari Cooper. Devontae Parker. When is Tua going to take over? That's the only question in Miami. We know that Fitzpatrick and him have a thing, and for the first part of the season, that might be great, but what is it going to look like when, and you know it's coming, when Fitzmagic runs out of magic and Tua's going to step in? What is that chemistry going to be like between him and Parker? You already know it exists between Parker and Fitzpatrick. What is it going to be like with Tua? You don't know. That's why this is a at your own risk draft. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, it's the same thing with Godwin and Evans. But here's the thing. You don't know who's going to go off when. 1 week, it could be Kupp. 1 week it could be Woods. Brandon Cooks is out of the mix now, but now you add in Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett. They're going to run 2 tight end sets, 2 wide receivers, and they got Cam Akers. Okay, what are they going to do? You don't know. Rams are kind of in a scrambling rebuild mode, if you will. So that's why this is a draft at your own risk. And the last guy I have on here, and some of y'all might think I'm crazy, is Tyler Lockett. Yeah, that's right. I said it. He's playing with Mr. Reliable and Russell Wilson as a QB, but Tyler Lockett is a draft at your own risk for the very simple reason of DK Metcalf. I think the DK is going to take a step up, and I know that Lockett finished 15th last year. Okay, and let's see, Metcalf finished 30th. Okay, so you've got you've got 15 spots there. How far is Tyler Lockett going to fall? How high up is Metcalf going to come? I don't know, but I know that Metcalf is going to be a better receiver than Lockett. Okay, that much I will put out there as a bold prediction that Metcalf will be higher than Lockett. I don't know how bold that is, but it's out there. My solid, and that completes my at your own risk list. My solid running backs, and we're going to run down this kind of quickly. Calvin Ridley. I mean, he would be number 1 anywhere else except in Atlanta because he's behind Julio. But this guy does nothing but score touchdowns. So he's pretty much solid, okay? We're waiting for him to take that next step, and I think this year could be that year. Devontae Adams, him and Terry McLaurin, who is next on my list, who else is there on their team? There's nobody else. The Washington actually just lost another wide receiver, so that even adds into the fact that McLaurin's it. There's been nobody to step up in Green Bay. They didn't go draft anybody in Green Bay. They drafted a running back and a backup to Rodgers to replace both positions. Okay, they want to try to move on from Rodgers, and they want to try to not pay Aaron Jones. So they got A.J. Dillon, they got Jordan Love. They didn't do anything with the receiving crew. So they're going to leave him with the same broke-down, second-hand receivers outside of Devontae Adams. And Devontae Adams is the only thing they have. Everybody knows it, and he still does nothing but produce. So that's why he's on my solid list. Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry is his nickname, and scary is what he's going to be if he's on your roster or if you have to go against him. He's going to be scary for what he could produce, and if you're facing him, he's going to be scary about what he could do to your team. Okay, DK Metcalf. I said it earlier with the last category of the at your own risk. He's going to supplant Tyler Lockett as the number 1 in Seattle. He is going to be the number 1 receiver for Russell Wilson. Okay, he's going to be bigger, faster, better, just more athletic. He's just a better overall receiver than Tyler Lockett. Okay, guys. A.J. Brown. Again, same boat as Adams and McLaurin. Is there anybody else in Tennessee that's catching the ball, that's doing the end arounds, that's in on the trick plays? I mean, come on. There's nobody else that you see here. Adam Thielen. With Stephon Diggs out, yes, you have Jordan Jefferson, but he's a rookie, and it's going to take him a second to get acclimated to the NFL. Adam Thielen, this is his game now. Yes, he's a little older, but he is as solid as they come in that system. There's not been a lot of turnover in Minnesota, so he's there. He's solid week in, week out starter. This last receiver on my list, number 7, T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. is here on the solid list just for the simple fact that he has been with this system with the Colts for a good period of time, and he's got a huge upgrade in Phillip Rivers coming in at quarterback from Jacoby Brissett. Okay, Rivers does nothing but throw the ball. Look at what he did with the Chargers, what he turned Keenan Allen into, what he made of the running backs there. he was just absolutely, and I'll hashtag this word, phenomenal in his time with the Chargers. Now he moves to the Colts. He is going to make T.Y. Hilton possibly a top 10 wide receiver this year. Watch for it. Now, as I had with my running backs, I have a hands off. And if you've been waiting for a few of these names, here they are. If you disagree with me about any of this list, look at the comment below, subscribe, like, and share for me, and leave a comment down bottom about who I messed up on and why you think I messed up on them, okay? If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up, smash it. Let me know that you agree with me and what you would like to see next, whether it would be tight ends list or quarterbacks list, okay? I'll leave that up to you guys. You guys leave me a message down the bottom, let me know. My hands-off list, I got 4 of them. Odell, Keenan Allen, DJ Shark, yeah, I said it, and Stephon Diggs. Now, Odell, look, the guy's busted 3 years in a row. I'm not going to deal with that this year. Guys were drafting him first or second and third round last year. No, okay. I haven't been big on Odell. I think he's overrated. That one good catch that he had against Dallas, that one-handed grab in the end zone, marked his career. And, I mean, really, dude, I don't trust him. He's not playing with a good quarterback. He's not playing in a good system. And Jarvis Landry has been better there than he has been. So that's why I'm hands off. Let somebody else deal with that headache. Keenan Allen, I love him as a receiver. What I don't love is his quarterback situation. Just hands off, let someone else deal with that headache. DJ Shark, I said it before about Minshew. I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville. Let somebody else have that headache, okay? Wherever Shark is getting drafted, I'm telling you right now, you can find someone that's a safer pick that maybe also has the same kind of production that you're looking for that DJ Shark has, okay? Stephon Diggs. Look, I didn't want Diggs in Minnesota. I don't want Diggs in Buffalo, okay? I don't want any of them. Either one. I'm not taking my shot on Diggs. Let someone else steal that. Matter of fact, I have targeted Justin Jefferson in every single mock draft I've done this year, okay? So if that says anything about Diggs and what I think about him, that should be glaring for anyone. So that's my list. If you guys want to see either quarterbacks or tight ends next, let me know down bottom. Let me know how we did on this episode. And remember, I went through this whole thing without cussing, and believe me, I could have just laid down a whole slew of cuss words to make you guys sit up and pay attention, but that's not who I am, and that's not how I'm going to do this channel. So with that said, I hope that you guys can watch this with your kids. I hope you can watch it with your girl, watch it with either your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other, whoever you have, and not have to worry about going, ooh, I don't like that language. So trying to bring you some good content, bring you some good information. And remember, when you're drafting, trust your gut, okay? Remember, we're here at the Academy for you, and we trust the gut for the glory. So when you guys are out there, remember, mask up for protection of yourself and others. You don't want to go through this COVID thing. Trust me, I've been going through it, and it's horrible. So anyone out there, God bless you, and I hope you get better. If you haven't got this, hope you stay protected. With that said, this has been the Dean, and this has been Fantasy Football Academy 2020. Peace out. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Remember, subscribe, like, share for me.